Do you remember this episode, macOS versus Windows? Now we know that these two systems are very close to each other in many ways, so that got me thinking, can you get the same MacBook-like experience for the same money or less? Which specs are minimum you should get, what to pay attention to while shopping for a Windows laptop, and what are 5 best alternatives to Air and Pro MacBooks? So let's not waste a second. Here's the list. The first laptop I'm gonna recommend is Asus VivoBook 15X OLED. What do we all like about MacBooks? Metal body, backlight keyboard, excellent performance, and great screens. This laptop got it all. Just like with all Windows laptops, there is a plethora of options for you to choose from, various processors, RAM size, SSD size, screen, etc. However, I think this laptop should be compared to the M1 and M2 MacBook Air. And believe me, in some cases, this VivoBook will wipe the floor with MacBook Air. But let's go over it from the start. The laptop body is full metal, which makes it more premium and pleasant to the touch. The manufacturer offers 2 color options, gray and blue, and personally, I like them both. Gray one is classy and somewhat standard, and the blue one is a signature color you can only get with Asus laptops. The screen on this thing is probably the best screen you can get for this kind of money. 1080p resolution, 600 nits of brightness, DCI-P3 with super fast response time. Optionally, you can configure the screen up to 2.8K resolution and 120Hz refresh rate, which is absolutely fantastic. As for the specs, everything is more than fine. The lowest configuration of this laptop is equipped with a 12-core, 16-thread i5 12500H. This chip is a serious powerhouse. Forget about those underclocked chips you get in other laptops. We're talking real CPU power. If you compare the M1 to this chip, you will see that i5 is better in almost every category. Better synthetics, better computing power, it's just far more powerful. At the same time, this chip is very power efficient, not as good as M1 or M2, but much better than all Intel chips of previous gens. Asus claims around 11 hours of battery life, which is bananas for Windows laptops. The laptop comes with 8 gigs of RAM at its base configuration, but it's not hard to find a model with 16 gigs of RAM, which is double of what the standard MacBook Air has. Oh, and for the price, the i5 variant with 8 gigs of RAM and 512 SSD will cost you $899 on Amazon, and I'm sure that your local Walmart or tech reseller will have this laptop with 16 gigs of RAM for around $999, which is right where the M1 Air stands. For the same money, you will get a bigger, much brighter, and more vibrant screen, better CPU performance, more storage, and more software flexibility. However, if this i5 is not enough for you, you can pay extra for the i7 12700H, which has 14 cores and 20 threads and scores much higher in all tests than the M2 chip. A laptop of this configuration with 16 gigs of RAM will cost you $1099, which is still less than the base M2 MacBook Air, and you, again, will get a much more powerful machine. Another laptop I think you should look into is HP Envy 16. There are many versions of this laptop, but the one we'll talk about is on sale at the moment of shooting this video. $970 for a hell of a machine. Don't believe me? Take a listen. For $970 you get a 12-core, 16-thread Core i5 Intel Arc graphics card with 4 gigs of memory, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 SSD, and a 16-inch 2.5K display with 120Hz refresh rate. And all that in a full aluminum enclosure with a glass screen. Very fashionable thing, as you see. I think this is a very nice looking laptop with very decent specs. This configuration will be plenty for video editing, gaming, watching movies, office work, anything. Additionally, this laptop has plenty of little things that make it so good. A great sound system produces clean and rich sound. Wi-Fi 6E ensures fast and stable connection. HP Fast Charge allows you to go from 0 to 50% charge in only 30 minutes. And the camera has infrared sensors and supports Windows Hello, which basically is a Microsoft version of Face ID. So for less money than the M1 MacBook Air, you get a bigger and better screen, much better CPU and GPU performance, 2 times the storage and 2 times the RAM, plus super fast Wi-Fi, plus Windows Hello. If you ask me, that's a lot of a computer for less than $1,000. There's only one thing that can dampen the mood. The sale will end eventually and the laptop will go back to its full price of $1,390. However, I must say that if we spec the M2 MacBook Air to be somewhat comparable to this machine by upgrading the RAM to 16 gigs, the GPU to 10 cores, and SSD to 512 gigs, we will get a $1,700 laptop, and that's not cool. But you know what is the sponsor of today's video? I want to talk to you about Apple Watch straps. Almost all Apple Watch users have a basic strap that's included in the box and wear it all the time. But sometimes you need to look presentable as James Bond. Silicone strap won't fit in, but a high-quality leather band from Longvadon will. The unboxing experience itself already feels luxurious and premium. The bands come packaged in a beautiful box, which gives a very satisfactory feeling when opened. As for the bands themselves, made from the finest full-grain leather and with metal elements, these bands give off a luxurious and high-quality feel that you can't find anywhere else. The craftsmanship is outstanding and the attention to detail is evident in every stitch. The leather has a beautiful texture, pleasant to the touch, and it will develop a unique patina over time, making it even more special. Not only do these bands look great, but they feel amazing on your wrist. The leather conforms to your wrist shape and the metal elements add a sense of class and elegance. And with multiple wrist size options available, you will find the perfect fit. The bands are compatible with all series of Apple Watch of all sizes, from the smallest 38mm Series 3 to the large Ultra. I have a 44mm version paired to the Apple Watch Series 6. Longvadon's bands also have different lining options to suit your needs and comfort. From ultra soft and luxurious suede lining to the soft and bendy rubber, you will be able to wear it all day without any discomfort. So if you feel like you wanna level up your Apple Watch look, click the link in the description to get your own Longvadon leather band and use my promo code for a hefty discount. The next laptop on my list is Dell XPS 17. I think this laptop is a perfect alternative to 14 or 16-inch MacBook Pro, and there are a few reasons for it. First, it's priced comparatively, retailing at only $22.99, which is exactly in the middle of what base 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros cost. Second, its performance is better than that of the base Pro MacBooks, and here is why. The exact model we're looking at is equipped with an Intel Core i9 12900HK, which is a chip with 14 cores and 20 thread that can go up to 5 GHz in turbo boost and a mobile RTX 3060 with 6 gigs of video memory. It also has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. If you look at performance tests, you will see that this i9 is more powerful in CPU tests than both M1 Pro and M1 Max chips. As for the graphics, the 3060 is equivalent to the graphics of M1 Pro, however, on Windows it gives much more versatility. You can not only work but also play games with this thing. 3060 is plenty for most modern games and programs, so working with 3D or editing huge files will be a walk in the park for you. However, there is one caveat. The screen. This XPS is more work-focused and is all Office-like, so the screen is a downside. Full HD at 17 inches and 500 nits of brightness isn't something to be happy about. Of course, you can upgrade that to 4K resolution, but you'll pay $60 extra. I know that Dell is always slightly lacking behind with its laptops and they are a bit overpriced, but these things are made to last. Dell laptops can go years without maintenance or care. They are robust and easy to repair, so it can be a workhorse for you if you're not looking for working in Starbucks. Now we are fully in the domain of high power and high price laptops. How about a gaming laptop? This HP Omen 17. As with all gaming laptops, the variety of internals is shocking, but I have found two deals you may like. First, the one for $2150 and the one for $2550. Both are extremely similar but still different. Let's go over the first one. For $2150, you're getting a 14-core 20-thread i7 GeForce 3070 Ti with 8 gigs of video memory, 16 gigs of RAM and 1 TB SSD. Knock $50 off that price and get 512 gigs of storage, or at 100 to go to 32 gigs of RAM you have a choice. But that's still not everything. This laptop has a 17.3-inch 165Hz display that is perfect for work and gaming. The second suggested configuration, the one for 2550, has 3080 Ti with 16 gigs of video memory in it and a 16-core 24-thread i7 processor. If you paid attention to what I've said before, you will know that both processors in this model outperform M1 Pro and Max in CPU-intensive tasks. And the GPU, you can't go wrong with 3080 Ti. It will be slightly less powerful than a 32-core GPU in M1 Max, but don't forget that that is a $3,300 MacBook. If you're curious, there will be a new version coming soon with i9 and 4090 GPU, and that will be an even better deal. The final laptop on this list is another gaming one, Asus Zephyrus M16. I will now discuss the last year's version, but the 2023 one is just around the corner. So the 2022 version has a very slick and thin aluminum body that looks sick. 15.6-inch screen has Quad HD resolution and supports 165Hz refresh rate. Inside, you can find a Ryzen 9 chip with 8 cores and 16 threads and GeForce 3080 with 8 gigs of memory and 16 gigs of RAM paired to 1 terabyte SSD. And all that for less than $2,000. I think it's the most good-looking gaming laptop, and it definitely is worth considering. Plus, it has a very cool design trick. The screen case lights up with RGB, making it truly unique. As for the upcoming version, it will have up to Core i9 13900H with 14 cores and a GeForce 4090. I think this combo is hard to beat, don't you think? Stay tuned for news and grab one as soon as you can, because believe me, 4090 will whip the floor with M1 Max. Because if the 3080 Ti is breathing up its neck, the 4090 is expected to be 55% faster, which will put it way above the M1 Max. So yeah, a stylish laptop that can easily game and do serious work even unplugged. So, which specs are minimal? I would say that you shouldn't go lower than i5 12500H if you're looking for a MacBook Air alternative, and you shouldn't get laptops with anything less than 3060 if you're shopping for a MacBook Pro alternative. Don't get anything with less than 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. Basically, that's it. I was genuinely surprised to find out that it's much easier to find MacBook Air alternatives than Pro. Pro MacBooks got so great that their combo is hard to beat, in terms of specs at least. Because as soon as you compare specs and price, you start seeing some mighty options in the Windows world. All laptops we've talked about are either cheaper than MacBooks or priced equally, which makes a pretty good point. Windows laptops can be comparable and superior to Macs. The choice, as always, is up to you.